Have you ever noticed that no matter how much you accomplish, how much praise you receive, or how many goals you reach, there is still a quiet voice inside you whispering that you are not enough? You work harder. You push further. You force yourself to excel, hoping that finally you will feel worthy, but the feeling never arrives. You tell yourself that the next milestone will fix it. The next achievement will silence the doubt. The next success will finally make you feel like you matter. Yet, when you get there, the hollow space inside remains untouched. You appear confident on the outside, capable, driven, admired, but inside there is a tension, a restlessness, a subtle ache that keeps you chasing something you cannot name. You wonder why you feel so unsatisfied when everyone else sees you as accomplished. You wonder why recognition slides off you like water. You wonder why compliments feel undeserved, why progress feels temporary, why fulfillment never stays long enough to matter. And here's the thing. The feeling of not being enough rarely comes from your achievements. It comes from the meaning your nervous system learned to attach to them long before you ever accomplished anything. Because somewhere in your past, love may have been conditional, approval may have been earned, safety may have depended on performance. You may have been praised for what you did, not who you were. You may have learned that affection arrives only when you impress, that belonging is granted only when you excel, that attention is tied to achievement rather than existence. And this is where it gets interesting. When a child learns that love must be earned, that child grows into an adult who cannot rest. An adult who cannot slow down. An adult who feels guilty when not productive. An adult who confuses self-worth with output. You become someone who measures yourself through comparison, perfectionism, productivity, or external validation because deep down you fear that if you stopped achieving, there would be nothing left to admire. You fear that without accomplishments, you would be invisible. You fear that without excellence, you would be unlovable. This creates a loop where you achieve more but feel less, where you rise higher but feel smaller, where you succeed publicly but feel empty privately. You become addicted to improvement because you fear what will happen if you stop. You chase success not because you enjoy it, but because slowing down would force you to feel the wound underneath. The wound that says you were never enough to begin with. And here's the truth. The part of you that feels inadequate is not broken, it is protective. It is a defense mechanism created to keep you safe in a world that once taught you that being yourself was not sufficient. The part that strives is the part that learned to survive. The part that doubts is the part that learned to anticipate rejection. The part that never feels finished is the part that learned love could disappear at any moment. But this belief doesn't come from the present. It comes from childhood patterns, emotional imprints, attachment wounds, and nervous system conditioning that still lives in your body, even if your mind knows better. You might have had parents who praised achievement more than effort, or caregivers who withheld affection until you pleased them, or teachers who valued perfection more than curiosity, or experiences where mistakes were punished, emotions were dismissed, or vulnerability was unsafe. And now your adult self carries the echo. This affects your relationships too. You might attract people you try to impress instead of people you feel safe with. You might overgive, overperform, or overfunction to maintain connection. You might fear intimacy because being seen means being judged. You might pull away when someone gets close because closeness exposes the belief that you are not enough. You might choose emotionally unavailable partners because they confirm the story you already believe. You might stay busy to avoid feeling. You might stay strong to avoid needing. You might stay independent to avoid disappointment. And yet, deep inside, you are longing for rest, softness, belonging, and acceptance without achievement. You want to feel enough simply by existing. You want to feel safe without proving yourself. You want to feel loved without performing. And that longing is proof that healing is possible. Because the feeling of not being enough is not a reflection of your worth, it is a reflection of what you were taught. Worthiness is not earned. Confidence is not achieved. Enoughness is not awarded. It is remembered. It returns when you stop treating yourself like a project to fix. It grows when you allow yourself to be human instead of exceptional. It strengthens when you choose people who see you instead of measure you. It expands when you rest without guilt. It awakens when you speak to yourself gently. You are not unfinished. You are not inadequate. You are not behind. You are someone who learned to survive through achievement, and now you are learning to live through self-acceptance. And if you still feel like you are not enough even after everything you've accomplished, it doesn't mean you have failed. It means the real work is beginning. You are allowed to slow down. You are allowed to feel proud. You are allowed to exist without earning your place. You are enough even when you do nothing. You always were. And now you are finally remembering it.